Deion Sanders over the weekend or at an event went to Antonio Pierce. They were both at the event, and Deion basically said, make sure you draft those Sanders boys. So there's clearly right now one of the worst kept secrets in America is Deion Sanders, Shadeur Sanders. However it falls, I don't think Deion's being totally overly controlling dad and just saying, no, you guys are going here. I think this has been conversations he's had with them, and they like to end up here. Also, shout out to you that have those of you that have mock drafts with Shiloh Sanders going in the second round. He's definitely not going that high. And if you think the backlash of Bo Nix to Denver at 12 was crazy, just wait until if Shiloh Sanders makes to the second round. But this I thought was interesting. And this is Deion, and I have no reason to not believe him, but I love this approach. Deion tweeted out today. This is when regards to the transfer portal. Make sure you know the difference between a bag and a blessing. And I thought this was really interesting to me. You can go get paid anywhere. This is the reality. You can go, it's not even just in professional sports. You could go get a job essentially anywhere in life. And you'll get paid, you'll get some benefits, whatever's agreed upon with the position you take. But most of us, after we get past that initial paycheck, and once you're comfortable with what you're paid, and then you're just expected of what your benefits, we start to detest some of these jobs. We don't like an owner. We don't like a coworker. A lot of us get jobs, and we don't even like the job. And that's what Deion doesn't want to happen with recruits on a college level going to different programs, and what he doesn't want for his own kids going to the NFL. Because if I were to just lay it out and tell you, what's the perks of going to the Raiders? An owner who has finally, after years, passed the Cincinnati Bengals and went from second to last place to third to last place in terms of richest owners. Last place is a technicality because the Packers don't have an owner. Why would I want him in the AFC West? Let's just look at coaches. Andy Reid, probably the best head coach in football. Jim Harbaugh, you could argue the best football coach on the planet with success both collegiately and in the pros. Sean Payton, Super Bowl winner. Look what he's doing this year with Denver. That's three of, in my opinion, the 5 or 6 best head coaches in the NFL. And there's an argument you could make they're the 3 best. Why would I want to go there if I was Shadeur? And that's because Deion, with all of these things, you could go to a situation that's going to pay you the same. You could go to a situation that's going to give you the same benefits. But you could, the same way any other person could hate their job, you could grow to hate that. This is not running from a challenge. Like, I think this is totally the opposite of what the very famous Archie Manning did with Eli. I think he thought the Chargers were too big of a dysfunction for Eli to overcome. So he said, hey, we're going to go over there. We're going to go to the Giants who have history, good ownership, etc. Deion's not banking on great ownership. Deion's not banking on a proven head coach, even though I like Antonio Pierce. He's not banking on overwhelming talent on the roster. But there's something Deion just knows. And again, when you are extremely successful at one thing in life, I believe this wholeheartedly. If you're extremely successful at one thing in life, that could be solely off talent. Deion was super successful as an NFL player, the greatest corner of all time. That's talent. Deion went into media, and he was great on the show. Him, Shannon, LT, used to be on NFL Network. He was fantastic at that. That's work ethic. That's acquired skills. That is taught. That's not inherent. Then Deion went and became a coach. And in just a few years has turned, not only did he get Jackson State to prominence as an HBCU, now what he's doing at Colorado. That is skills. That is work. That is nothing. Deion has done this. And so he's looking around and he's seeing, what's the place I want Shadeur to go to? And again, there's no real, I wish I had some really clever or really, oh, I'm so smart, that's why you should listen to me, theory or idea about why this is absolutely going to work. But I don't know it because I'm not Deion Sanders. I just have proof of concept of Deion being successful in everything he's done. And once you get past the NFL part, the rest of it we can't just call talent. The talent got him in the NFL. His skill and his work ethic and his knowledge, that got him to be good in media. His skill, his work ethic, and his knowledge, that got him to be a good head coach at 2 separate programs. This is just facts. I'm just laying out what I've seen him do. And so if he's looking at the Las Vegas Raiders and he's looking at Antonio Pierce and he's looking at that ownership group and he's saying, that's where I want my son to go, this feels different than when LeVar Ball came out and said, I want all 3 of my boys to play together. I want LaMelo over here. I want Lonzo to go to the Lakers. I want LiAngelo over here. Like, that would just felt like we're talented and we have a brand. And I'm going to just throw this out there, and I'm hoping this works. I don't have any reason. Now, LeVar Ball is a dad, hell of an accomplishment. And I've always pushed back people that say, oh, it's not that impressive what he did. If you have 3 sons, 2 of the 3 make it to the NBA, I don't care what they've done. And really, you could argue 3 of 3 if you want to count the G League and practice squad and stuff like that. You put 3 sons in the NBA. You have 3 sons with some very, very good net worths. You got 2 of them that got paid by the NBA. That is a hell of a job as a dad. So I don't want to discredit that from LeVar. But the process of what LeVar did, I had no proof of concept that LeVar was going to be great at this and great at that. We've seen what he tried to do with the shoes. And if the shoes had worked, I'd give him the exact same compliments I give to Deion. If the shoes had worked, and the media had worked, and the marketing worked, if there was several facets of his life, and I'm sure there is, we just can't see all of them, but I've seen it with Deion. It's public information. It's known. If I can see all of that stuff and see how successful he was here, see how successful he was there, see how successful he was there, why would I not trust him when it comes to where my son should play, where my son should be drafted? Again, nothing else about it makes sense. Nothing. Nothing else about telling, hey, I want my son to go play in a division with 3 great head coaches. I want my son to go play in a division with the best quarterback in the NFL. Hey, I want my son to go play in a division where they're going to have the poorest ownership group by a mile. But there's proof of concept. Deion's been successful at so many things. How am I going to sit there and doubt him and say, you don't know what you're doing? You clearly do, and only so much of it can be talent. Another guy who I gave Sean McVay some love to end last hour, and I've been really fixated on this concept for the last couple of weeks. We all know when someone is bad at their job, and we all know when someone is great at their job. And bad's the wrong word. We know when someone's terrible, and we know when someone's terrific. Let's use both T's. Let's keep it cute. Someone's terrible at their job, and we'll keep it in the realm of NFL head coaching. Nathaniel Hackett, after 1 game, even though I was in denial at the time, was terrible at his job of being an NFL head coach. He was. And it was so evident for people to see. Again, I was in denial. That's my fandom. It happens. And then we know when people are terrific at their job. Bill Belichick, Andy Reid, Sean McVay. It's easy to see. Kyle Shanahan. It's easy to see when someone's terrific at their job. Results, accolades, all that stuff starts to pile up. It's really hard to get someone right before everybody else figures them out. And when it comes to coaching, and really in any sport, but especially in the NFL, because the normal process is you become a new head coach, you have a bad team. Because the previous guy got fired. And a part of a team firing their head coach, roster getting broken down, guys get traded, bad seasons, contracts, etc. You're on a bad team. So figuring out who's good and who's not good, that's a skill. That's a skill for GMs. It's a skill for owners who a lot just don't have. I'm going to put on my fake GM hat And I'm going to make my pitch to the best coach no one's talking about. And that's Dave Canales down in Carolina. Carolina's got a terrible record. Carolina's not that good. How could he be the best head coach and his team's not good? Watch what his team's done. Obviously, you start off, there's a clear lack of talent on the roster. This is why they had the number one overall pick, and they traded all those picks. We all know the horrible Bears trade, which in reality, they've won 2 more games than the Bears, or 2 more, I'm sorry, only 2 less games than the Bears since all of this trade comparison talk have happened. Let's look at Bryce Young, how he started, and how he's going. He looked lost, then he was benched, and now look at Bryce Young the last couple of weeks. That's coaching, that's teaching. You see the improvement. It's visible. We can all clearly see it. I haven't seen nearly as many short jokes about Bryce Young last couple of weeks. I saw him play really well against the Chiefs, Super Bowl defense. I saw him play really well yesterday. I've seen the last couple of weeks since coming back from being benched. Bryce Young has been a really good quarterback. That's coaching, that's teaching, that's improvement. Those are the kind of things you got to look for is when it comes to, is this the right guy? No, he doesn't have the talent to compete with Kyle Shanahan. If let's say they're equal level play callers, just a little bit less, he doesn't have the talent to compete with him. Kyle Shanahan gets to scheme up things for Debo and George Kittle, and when he's had Christian McCaffrey, we've seen how explosive that is. Andy Reid at different times, that Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, you don't have that talent yet, but you see it. Go to a better example of a team that's farther along in the process, but something similar. Look at what Sean Payton's doing in Denver. No one thinks Denver has great receivers. Cortland Sutton's the only receiver most people can actually even name. But what he's scheming up with Vele, you can see that and go, oh, he can do that with him. Think of what he could do when he gets more time to acquire more talent. Oh, he's scheming up things for Lucas Kroll. Okay, well, Lucas Kroll's not a household name at tight end. Look at what Canales is doing with Chuba Hubbard. Like, look at what he's doing with Adam Thielen, go look at Adam Thielen. Having I'm not going to say a bounce back year, but we've seen far more Adam Thielen highlights this year than last. Again, coaches need X amount of talent to get X amount of results. You're never going to see the feel-good movie story of this coach took the worst roster in the league and went all the way and won a title. That's not real. That's movies. That's fake.